Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now, as I'm sure most of you are probably aware, it's been a crazy day in the market so far, but overall what I did want to talk about was ICP, because we've seen it make some insane moves to the upside recently, and we kind of all finally got the move we were waiting for. It's started to kind of go in the direction that I think a lot of us have really seen it kind of have the potential to do over the past, I don't know, years at this point, right? So I want to take a look at the chart so we can kind of assess like how that looks, what's kind of best case scenario, what would maybe be potentially bad to see, all that type of stuff. And then we're also going to go through some news and just kind of an overall kind of status check on where ICP is generally. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting out, as we can see, insane day in the crypto market overall. Yes, this is right. These are daily gains, absolutely astronomical gains all across the board. I don't think we've seen crypto bubbles look like this probably since the election. I mean, basically everything is up. Somewhat coincidentally, the only thing, or one of the only things that are down today is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down about 1.5%, but as you can see, like alts are just kind of going nuts everywhere. You know, Ethereum doing really well, Polygon, we can see ICP here 12%, Jasmy up 30%. I'm going to be making a video about this here probably today or tomorrow. Really interesting movement coming out of Jasmy. I mean, even IMX has kind of been lagging a little bit kind of compared to everything else in the market, and they're up 18% today. XLM 64. I mean, just crazy numbers everywhere. So moving on though, I did want to focus in on ICP specifically. So there's a couple of things that we can see here. One thing that I did want to focus on is just kind of the wedge that we were drawing in and kind of the trend line that we were seeing. And so as we could see in my last video, we did talk about kind of how this was kind of getting towards the end. We were seeing a general uptrend kind of clashing in with a general downtrend on a more macro scale. And so I kind of said that there were kind of one or two possibilities here, right? We had to break through this uptrend that we have been forming and kind of continue in within this very shallow wedge. Or, I mean, we had until like the end of November essentially to break out. And obviously breakout we've seen really strong moves to the upside. So let me get rid of these just real quick so we can kind of focus in on the next thing that I want to talk about, which is the fib retracement. And so we're going to zoom out a little bit just so we can kind of get a better sense of kind of the whole chart overall. But we can see, first off, we had the 236 was kind of like, that was the big retracement level that we'd been bumping into. You can see we obviously like very easily cleared this out, and we're actually bumping into the next level, which is the 382 level. So we can see, you know, we wicked up above it, have come back down, and are kind of sitting on that line right now. We may be running into a little bit more, you know, resistance here. We might kind of stall out for a couple of days. Potentially, we can see that prior to breaking below it, this was a very strong level of support. And so now this is likely going to be a decent point of resistance. After that, we are going to see the 0.5 level, and we can see again here a decent level of resistance when we were kind of consolidating in this area and eventually ended up breaking down. After that, 618, 786. 786 is probably, 618 doesn't really look to show too much activity at this level. I think 786 is probably going to be kind of the tougher level to break. And then from there, we're back up to kind of local tops, what we saw back in, you know, the end of March. Past there, we go into the fib extension, right? Because right now we've essentially only been in fib retracement. After we get into fib extension, the first key point that we're going to be looking at here is kind of the 1618, which is like the $30.30 range. After that, we got 2618, which is $45. About 45.5. After that, we got 3618, which is $60.54. And then after that, we're pushing up on $70 at the 4236 range. So I think in like the somewhat short to mid term, this is probably what we're looking at. You know, probably $70, and that's obviously where fib extension kind of tops out. If we look kind of previously at like the history of ICP, ICP has been far higher prices before, but I think to get to, you know, these are kind of some of the technical levels that we're kind of looking at here in the short term. I know we've done price predictions on the channel before where we're talking more about theoretically, like if we hit $100 billion market cap, what would that look like if we did? I know there's a general theory both that have both talked about, as well as other people within the ICP ecosystem have talked about how we get to like the $200, $220 range. I think overall the main thing to focus on here though is kind of in this short to midterm range from a technical perspective, we kind of have a somewhat decent roadmap up to about $70. So things are looking good. We can see right now following the fib levels somewhat decently. And so I would imagine that this is probably what we see kind of as we start to continue on. The other thing I did want to check out here is we can see kind of over the past little while, we have seen a spike in volume trading ICP, which is a really, really good thing to see. We've just barely creeped into the overbought range. So RSI is looking a little bit extended. I do think, potentially if we consolidate at this level, ideally it'd be great to break above it and consolidate as a support rather than a resistance. But either or, if we can kind of consolidate in this range, I do think that would be really, really good news for us to see. Let RSI kind of recover, pull back a little bit, show kind of some strength in the chart. A little bit from like an RSI perspective. Volume continuing to creep up is something I think is very important. But overall, I mean, the chart looking really quite decent here. So if you are interested in trading ICP or any other type of crypto for that matter, feel free to use my link to BTCC below. You can see we've got a really, really fantastic deposit that I've been working with BTC this month on. 10% bonus on first time deposits, which is a fantastic deal. Obviously, if you're looking to trade ICP or XRP, whatever, Cardano, any of the things that have kind of been going nuts lately, or anything for that matter, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that type of stuff, you're essentially getting 10% free money to like continue trading on these things, which is fantastic. And remember, this is in addition to the up to $10,055 in additional bonuses that you can get as well. So really a quite fantastic deal that we've got going on. We can see over 300 plus crypto futures, 500x leverage, and no VPN or KYC necessary. So overall, I think a really strong deal. If you are looking for a place to trade crypto, I would say BTCC is a great place to do it. Also, one thing that they do have that I do find kind of interesting is if we look over here, one of the categories is tokenized stocks. And so I think tokenized stocks is kind of cool because obviously like we've seen Coinbase, we've seen MicroStrategy, some of these crypto related stocks just go insane lately. And so if you are interested in trading these types of stocks, you actually can trade them up to 20x leverage too, which I think is kind of funny. And so anyway, if you are interested in any of that, please feel free to check the link in the description below. Now, moving on, I want to talk a little bit about this post that we saw on Twitter from Mike, and this is regarding ICP overall, but what we can see is if you go and Google the fastest blockchain, it actually does put ICP at the top, which is really good news because I know there was like a lot of frustration and kind of disillusionment and things like that within the ICP ecosystem because us who know obviously that ICP is far and away the highest throughput blockchain that there is out there right now. But most people haven't seen that or don't know that. They think it's Solana, and then more recently, Sui is one that's been coming around and really taken, kind of the world by storm. Again, their transaction limit at this point, at least from my understanding, is more theoretical. That's not to say that it can't happen, but at least the max recorded transactions per second, we have ICP gapping basically everybody else over 3x the next closest, which is Solana, and Solana over 7x the next closest, which is Near, which is 5x the next closest of the fourth place, which is Tron. So, I mean, hopefully you can see here, from first to fourth place, you basically have an increase in almost 100x here. So insane transaction speed here on ICP. We can see that Solana's done massive moves because people are all super jazzed about their transaction speed and their throughput compared to all the others, which again, fair, like 7x over the next closest, huge. But we're also forgetting this little caveat here, right? And so the fact that Google has actually corrected this and kind of pushed this to the people who are wanting to learn about it, this is very good news, and I'm really excited to see that this has happened. So overall, things looking fantastic. We can see here on the ICP dashboard more of the same. I mean, things looking awesome. Total ICP burnt continues to go up. ICP transactions continue to go up. Canisters continue to go up. Transactions have come down a little bit overall. We did see a pretty impressive spike here over the past probably month, 6 weeks. So that's kind of come down a little bit, which isn't the end of the world, but obviously we're looking to see that. We can see that cycle burn rates have come down from that kind of initial spike when Bob was released, but overall starting to tick back up, which is very good news. This is exactly what we want to see. So overall, I mean, things looking really good kind of all throughout the ICP ecosystem. Even if we look back a year here, over double. A year ago we had 350,000 canisters, now we're at 865,000. So I mean, massive development going on here within the ICP ecosystem. Things looking really good. And I actually saw something this morning in addition to on X. I probably wouldn't be able to find the tweet ever again if I wanted to, but ICP had the largest number of commits on GitHub within the last about, I think, 24 hours or something like that, 48 hours, something somewhat short term. But even still, I think the next closest was XRP. So, I mean, ICP definitely competing with all of these major blue chip cryptos in terms of the work that they're doing, the stats that they can show, all of this type of stuff. The only thing they're not competing on currently is price. Now, whether that is a arbitrage within the market that we've all correctly identified and we're all going to make a fortune off of, maybe, or maybe there's something else going on, and maybe we won't see that, right? But generally, just from a fundamental perspective, it does look to me that ICP is looking very strong, the ecosystem looking really strong. Like we just talked about, it competes with major coins on basically everything. So the fact that it's kind of lagging in price, to me, looks like a deep discount. Now, we'll see if we're right or not, over the next several months, years, whatever. But overall, I'm super happy with how ICP is looking. We're finally starting to see some of this movement in the chart, which I'm sure is a breath of fresh air to everybody probably watching this video who's been an ICP holder. Maybe those of you who've been watching these videos and aren't ICP holders, maybe there's a little bit of FOMO going on potentially. But overall, I do think kind of really, really good, strong movement within the ICP ecosystem. This movement to me indicates just very, very strong fundamentals still, and people are starting to take notice, which is exactly what we're hoping for. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and subscribe. It really, really does help me out. Obviously, I do talk about ICP a lot, and I'm trying to bring ICP to the wider community, and so your like, subscribe, shares, all that type of stuff really, really does help me with that. So if you want to support me, that'd be a great way to do so. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything you want me to see, that'd be a great place to do it. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.